Well, hello there again, everybody. It's sectional semifinal night, and what a game we had at Ben Davis tonight. Ben Davis rallies with 21 points in the fourth quarter to come back from an 18-point deficit and beat Brownsburg 28 to 25. Just got done writing my story here and everything, box score and all that good stuff. And it was a game where Brownsburg first play of the fourth quarter goes up 25-7. It didn't feel like it was completely over at that point because Ben Davis had moved the ball a little bit up and down the field, just hadn't, had made some mistakes, not finished drives, three turnovers in the first half. Just kind of sputtered a little bit, and Brownsburg played very good defensively. Really, I thought pretty much the entire game, but and I've seen some crazy games in this stadium here at Ben Davis over the years, and I knew, it's not the stadium necessarily, but you never count out, especially a really good team like Ben Davis, really good offensive team, that has explosion, and they were able to score on that next drive, made it 25-14. I thought that was really sort of a turning point to this game. Not the biggest turning point, but enough to where you felt like, all right, they got a shot. Gajkowski, made a really nice play, getting himself out of trouble. Had some pressure from him. He tried to roll out to his right and had pressure from the defensive line. Jackson Sargent, one of the players, kind of forced him left. He got back through there, got up the left sideline, got in the end zone, 8-yard touchdown on 3rd and goal. So, if they get him down there, who knows? It's 4th down. Who knows what happens? Of course, they would go for it there, and maybe they would score anyway. But, that at least left it sort of open. It's 25-14 at that point, and 9:31, I believe, was left in the game at that point. So there was plenty of time at that point in the game. But you also felt like Brownsburg, with their running game, with Garrett Sherrill, and Ben Davis was slowly running out of timeouts. Basically, with 8 minutes left, they didn't have any. But at that point, you felt like Brownsburg was going to try to run the ball, and that's what they've really done all year. Sherrill had, and I will say Ben Davis did a good job of defending him tonight. He did have touchdown runs of 65 and 45, but for the most part, Nyland Brown came back from injury and played tonight, and that made a huge difference for that Ben Davis defense. It seemed like he was everywhere, especially where Sherrill was. Stopping him for yard 2 gains that normally are 4 or 5 yards for Brownsburg. So anyway, it's 25-14 with 9:31 left. And then probably the biggest play of the game, the one people will remember the most, I think, from this game, was 2nd and 9. Mark Zachary stepped in front of a short pass in the flat by Jake Dunn, and just made a great read on it. He said, he'd watched film, had kind of figured that Brownsburg was going to probably throw short in that situation because, they're trying to run the clock down and use as much clock as you can, obviously, there. And he just stepped in front, made a great play, returned it for a touchdown. And then all of a sudden it's 25-20. They went for 2, didn't get it, kind of a crazy trick play thing that failed. But 25-20 with 8:52 left, in good position there. At that point, Ben Davis was, and it felt like all the momentum at that point was on Ben Davis's side. So, Brownsburg again, didn't have any first downs other than Sherrill's touchdown run, which technically counts as a first down to start the fourth quarter. Brownsburg didn't have any first downs the rest of the way, so they go 3 and out again. Ben Davis gets the ball back. They do not get a first down. A 4th and 1 play. Gajkowski got stopped about a half-yard short. They measured it. It wasn't really that close, but 5:43 left. Brownsburg had the ball back again, up 25-20. Ben Davis at that point's out of timeouts. So if you can get maybe 1-2 first downs, you're really looking pretty good if you're Brownsburg at that point. They couldn't do it, though. Got to 3rd and 3. Sherrill got stopped on a running play, and 4th and 4. Actually, 4th and 9, they had to punt after a penalty. And so 3:29 left. Ben Davis had the ball back at its own 44. And you didn't know, could Brownsburg's defense hold up again? That defense played really well. Like I said, both defenses I thought played really well. That was kind of the story of the night, was how those defenses played. But Ben Davis did. They got a pretty long pass, or I'm sorry, run from Elijah Price, who was pretty quiet in the second half, didn't touch the ball a lot. But he got out to the 32-yard line of Brownsburg on an 18-yard run. He caught another pass for about 7 yards, and then Gudkowski ran. And Brownsburg did a really good job stopping Gudkowski's run most of the night up until the fourth quarter. And then he got loose on a 3rd and 3, got up the right sideline and into the end zone, 16-yard run. And that put Ben Davis ahead with 2:07 left, went for 2. They got it. So 28-25 with 2:07 left. Ben Davis had the lead. Brownsburg has a very good kicker in Spencer Porath, so you're still thinking, even if they can hit a couple plays, maybe get in position for a field goal, even a long field goal, to have a chance to tie, but never even got remotely close to that. 2 sacks, and Brownsburg had 4th and 29. Dunn threw it up, and actually got pretty close to Corey Smith being able to make a play on it. Couldn't quite get it. And Zachary knocked it away. Ben Davis just runs the clock out from there with, just a minute left or so, and Brownsburg out of timeouts. So that was the game. Ben Davis 28-25, frantic finish, and a couple of huge plays by Zachary there, offense and defense. Defense, of course, the big one was the interception return for touchdown, the pick six. Ben Davis's defense overall, I thought, and Nyland Brown, man, what a addition he is back to that lineup. And if you can stop Brownsburg's running game, and like they did in the fourth quarter, and make them a little bit more one-dimensional, that obviously played into Ben Davis's favor. So really impressive win. I think I did ask John Hart about, last year, after Brownsburg won the game last year, and he sort of had a good line, or a memorable line about, a couple third graders and a box of crayons comes up with a better playoff system than we have, basically alluding to the fact that 2 of the top 10 teams in the state were playing each other on the first round of the sectional. It happened again this year, and they're both actually top 3 teams in 6A, so even worse. But he didn't go that route. He said, I can't say that. I'm not going to say that after a loss. It comes off as sour grapes. I think probably a good call by him, even though, he's made his feelings known about the playoff system. I did the same today. It doesn't make much sense, in my opinion. It's October 28th now. It's after midnight, but for one of these teams to be turning their uniforms in October just is weird. And I hope at some point we have some sort of seeding system, especially for football. Try a 2-year run, in my opinion, and wrote about that today. I don't mean to beat a dead horse on this, but it just doesn't really make a whole lot of. 49 states have some sort of seeding system built into their playoffs. So, you can call it a playoff, you can call it a tournament, call it what you want. There should be some sort of benefit to being a really good team. I don't care, 1-8, 0-9. It's those if you're 1-8 or 0-9 or whatever. I mean, that doesn't. I don't think you should benefit from a great draw. I mean, great for them if they win a game, but the tournament I don't think should be designed for that point. So anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent again, but anyway, John Hart didn't want to go that route. He credited Ben Davis, and I think that's probably a good way to approach that. But yeah, very tough. It was very emotional. I think loss. Obviously, it was going to be that way either way, but just kind of the way it happened. Brownsburg fans kind of stunned as they were leaving the stadium, and just the game flipped so quickly, and Brownsburg just couldn't get that momentum back again, and it just felt like it was kind of rolling downhill. If they could get one more stop, that was kind of going to be the key, because the offense just couldn't get anything going for the most part there. So just a really impressive comeback for Ben Davis. You tip your hat to the Giants, and Nyland Brown, Mark Zachary, Gudkowski, Elijah Price. Those guys, they have star players, obviously, and they played like it in the fourth quarter, and certainly the defense, I thought, played really well. Kind of kept them in the game when the offense was sputtering and making some unusual mistakes. They had 3 turnovers in the first half and still only trailed by 6 points, but 13-7. So I did feel like Brownsburg could have been. It felt like they should have been ahead by more at halftime than they were. It was 13-7, but it felt like Brownsburg had outplayed Ben Davis by more than that. So you look at that in hindsight too. It's like maybe they should have been settled for a couple field goals and couldn't quite close the door on a couple drives. So anyway, that's so Ben Davis will now move on to play Pike, which knocked off Avon tonight, which that was a little bit surprising to me. Also, I thought Avon and Pike has been playing well too of late, but I thought Avon, a couple wins they had late in the season, I thought maybe lead to being able to win that game, and I thought maybe could sneak up and give Brownsburg or Ben Davis a tough game, but instead it'll be Pike. Pike won 42-41 in overtime over Avon tonight, so a wild one there. Elsewhere in some of the bigger games that we covered tonight, it turned out New Pal turned on the Jets tonight. They beat Greenfield Central 35-0. That's surprising to me. I did not expect that would be a blowout like it was. Lawrence North beat Lawrence Central 38-16. Lawrence North over Lawrence Central 38-16 in Sectional 6. So the Wildcats will play Cathedral. That should be a fantastic game next Friday. Center Grove beat Franklin Central 40-14. That game was 19-14 at halftime. Center Grove dominates the second half. And looked like Luke Barrett had a big game for Center Grove, had part of 3 of the 4 takeaways for Center Grove in that one, 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery, and also including a pick 6 that he returned for a touchdown, 45-yard touchdown. So big win there. Center Grove wins going away against the Flashes in that one. Mount Vernon beat Beech Grove 42-12. That's a Class 4A game. Westfield beat Carmel 37-21 in the north half of the bracket in 6A. That's a game that Westfield led pretty handily. Looked like early. I think it was 28-0 or 21-0 at least in the second quarter. Yeah, 28-0 at halftime. So pretty well in command of that one throughout. Mooresville beat Roncalli 17-9 tonight in a big 4A game. So that's interesting there. Chittard got past Guerin. That was a late start tonight. Guerin jumped on top early, and then Chittard goes on to win 21-10. Again, you can find more information on these games on IndyStar.com, and we'll have more in the morning also. Hamilton Heights 28-21 over Mechaniqua in Class 3A. And then rolling through the scores, Fishers 40. So this is a 6A Sectional 3. Fishers 42-14 over Homestead. HSC beat Northrop, Fort Wayne Northrop 56-7. Sectional 4, Westfield 37-21 over Carmel. Noblesville 31-24 over Zionsville. So Noblesville, Westfield will be the game next week in Sectional 4, and HSC Fishers in 3. In Sectional 5, I talked about those games. Ben Davis wins, Pike wins. Those two teams play each other. Cathedral won 42-2 over North Central, so they play Lawrence North next week in Sectional 6. Warren rolled over Perry Meridian 49-0 in Sectional 7. Southport also wins. They won 41-12 over Tech. So Southport and Warren will play in Sectional 7. And then Center Grove's opponent will be Columbus North, won 58-0 over Jeffersonville. Plainfield got beat tonight in 5A, Sectional 13. Lafayette, West Lafayette Harrison, 39-13 beats the Quakers. And Decatur Central now will play Harrison. Decatur beat McCutcheon 33-0 in that one. Whiteland was a big winner. Last check, it was 63-7 over Terre Haute North. So Terre Haute South will be their opponent in 5A, Sectional 14. Terre Haute South beat Franklin 14-10. I don't even know what to say about this game. Brebeuf 70, Lebanon 49. So unravel the stats in that one. That's 4A Sectional 21. Brebeuf will play Mooresville next week. That should be a good game. And New Pal will play Mount Vernon. Mention those scores. That'll be Sectional 22. Those two rivals play each other for the title. Greenwood beat Jennings County, and good luck to Greenwood next week. They play East Central, number 1. They beat so Greenwood won 43-12 over Jennings County. East Central beat Martinsville 56-20. So East Central, a team that's just a complete juggernaut in 4A. That'll be a tough matchup for Greenwood. Chittard and Hamilton Heights will play. I mentioned those scores. That's sectional 28. Sectional 29, Tri-West 42, North Montgomery 6, and Monrovia beat Speedway 20-3. In 31, Batesville beat Lawrenceburg 20-14, and Indian Creek beat Franklin County 37-0. So Indian Creek and Batesville will play. Linton Stockton, interesting. They just got past Greencastle 26-21, and then Cascade got beat 22-21 to Southmont in overtime. So Linton Stockton and Southmont will play in sectional 37. Sectional 38, Eastern Hancock 44-21 over Ritter, and Winchester knocks out Heritage Christian in an upset game 20-14. So Eastern Hancock and Winchester will play for the sectional 38 title. Triton Central got by. That was another big game. Beat Brownstown Central, number 1 versus number 3 in 2A, 28-17. Eastern Pekin 44, Switzerland County 0. So that'll be Eastern will be Triton Central's opponent next week for the sectional title. In 1A, Park Tudor wins easily 48-6 over Clinton Central, and they'll play North Vermilion, a 50-42 win over Clinton Prairie. Monroe Central 43-34, so Monroe Central over West Dell. So Sheridan will play Monroe Central in sectional 45. And then some of these other, Lutheran barely got past South Putnam, 21-14. Wow, that's I hadn't seen that score until now. Covenant Christian beat Riverton Park 37-18. So interesting games there. Covenant Christian will play Lutheran next week, and obviously Lutheran not as dominant as they had been throughout the tournament. So interesting score there. But that'll about do it for tonight. Stay with, well, like I said, we'll have more coverage at IndyStar.com and more on this game from Ben Davis Brownsburg. Like I said, it was a really wild game, probably one of the better games I've seen here at Ben Davis. I've seen a lot of them that have been really good, but just emotional, like I said, and we'll see what Ben Davis does from here. I think they'll be them and Center Grove. You have to think are the favorites in the south half of this bracket, but you also have teams like Lawrence North, Cathedral, Warren. Who knows what Warren gives you week after week. So obviously they played well tonight. So some good teams still in it. Some good teams have gone home, and that's how it is in the blind draw. A lot of good teams go home in October. So that'll do it, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for staying up and watching.